What is up, everyone? Welcome to Mechs on Deck. It is Tuesday. It's August 10th to be exact. I kind of forgot what day it was earlier today.
Like day of the week or like date?
Both. Yeah. I thought yesterday was the 10th for whatever reason, and thought today was the 11th. But yeah, we're here. We're vibing.
Yeah, man. It's today was the first day back with kids, so not bad. Not bad. It's just hectic. Especially like elementary school, you know, like you have humans walking around that have no idea what they're doing, and like where they are. Like middle school first day, it's like, where's the class? Where's the class? I don't know the building.
Yeah.
And that's difficult, but at least they're like self-sufficient.
Yeah.
You know, pre-K, you have kids walking around just like zombies. It's just like I had a discussion with one of my coworkers. They're like, up until like second grade, kids don't really have a concept of time.
No.
So they're just like they're just sitting there, and they're like, I'm hungry, and they're like, well, it's almost lunchtime. You're like, okay. But there's no like schedule for them. They're not like, oh, like if you tell a kid like, what time do I leave? And you tell a kid 3:30, if they don't know their numbers and they don't know how to read a clock, even a digital one, that means nothing to them.
Dude, yeah. Do the schools still have like non-digital clocks, the analog clocks?
Yes,
like the giant.
And so for those who don't know,
ones?
yeah, oh yeah, they're giant. So I teach SPED, and we still teach our kids how to read a hand. Like I wear a watch every day. Kids will literally come up to me and go, "How do you read what time it is on that?" And I'm like, "God damn it!" It's like a fourth grader.
That's not a phone. It doesn't.
They're like, what time is it? And
is.
I'll look and say it, and they're like, "How?" I'm like, "Come on, guys. Like, education." So it was good. G Will S first day generally good or no. For us, it just depends because if we have some new kids, and with SPED, it could be great. But you don't know them, right? You don't know their triggers. You don't know how much. Plus, it's pretty low workload. Like it's not college where it's like you have 14 quizzes next week. Here's the book. Read the first 30 chapters. Bye. Like it's like these are the rules of the class, but there's not like I need you to sit down and work. So it's pretty low effort. And then the scheduling can be difficult, but overall, not too bad.
Did you have any like the kids that are so out of touch of being away from their parents that they just cry all day?
We personally didn't, but absolutely heard them in the hallway. Like just like all day, there's just like some kid crying very loudly.
It's always funny when it's like a fourth grader who's like still in that phase.
Not too many of those. We had one last year, and it was like really strange. That usually gets weeded out by second grade is kind of where you stop seeing that. They're kind of with it and understanding it, that because kindergarten, you might not have gone to pre-K, so kindergarten you go and then you're on break again. You're like, oh, cool, I just only had to do that for X amount of time, and then when you go back, you're like, shit. But then by that point, you're like, okay, now I'm understanding that this is something I have to do all the time.
Dude, it's still crazy to me that kindergarten is all day now.
Yeah, and you don't have to go to pre-K anymore. You can just this Texas, you don't even have to go to kindergarten.
You don't have to go to kindergarten?
Oh yeah, you can just show up at first grade.
Damn, I didn't even know that.
Not knowing anything. Kindergarten is just like heavily encouraged, but it is not mandatory.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's like, I feel bad for first grade teachers.
Yeah, it's because you're having to teach 90% of your kids are at a first grade level, and then some kids who've literally never had education in their life or structure. And it shows. You can point those kids out pretty much immediately. What about you, man? I know you had a tough weekend, but
Yeah, so obviously didn't stream on Saturday. I was supposed to stream, build a board. Um, I had my dad was in the hospital Friday morning. He got a call from he Thursday went in for some tests. He wasn't feeling well. So Friday or Thursday
Yeah.
went in for tests. Friday he got a call from the hospital saying go to the hospital now. Basically, you need to go now. Go to the ER. So that was scary. Went through all day of testing. Found out that uh, it was just his gallbladder needed to be removed. So he had that done Saturday morning. So I was helping my parents out with some stuff. Took my mom up to the hospital to pick him up. He's doing fine. Did classic my dad moves and overdid it on Sunday. So like not even I guess not even 24 hours after being released from the hospital, he was out driving to a family event and was there. And like, Dad, what are you doing? Like, you just had a piece of your body that was inside is now gone and outside
It's
of
now
your
out.
body.
It's like it's all.
So, but he's
The
doing
doctor
better.
said the bleeding's internal. That's where the blood's
Yeah,
supposed to be.
As long as it stays inside, I'm good. No,
I called that, by the way, 100%.
Yeah.
Someone said, "Oh, yeah," we were just talking in our chat. I was like, "Oh, how's Eric's dad doing?" I was like, "If I know him, he's gonna be up and moving well before he should be."
Yeah. Yeah. So, but it was good to see him. I think he was excited to be able to like be out and feel somewhat active again. I think my dad's a very proud person of his ability to do things. He is older. My parents are older. My dad's 70, so that's kind of like where a lot of the fear was of like, okay, this could be something bad. Thankfully, it was not something as bad as it could have been. The gallbladder being removed is a fairly common surgery to happen, about in line with the appendix in terms of how common it is. So, but yeah, he's not. My dad is Italian. Like,
There it is.
I think my
All the
dad
way.
would say I'm Italian before he would be proud to be a Texan, especially because he hates UT because he went to Oklahoma. He went to OU. So,
I love it. I love it. Archetype, what's up, man? Well, I'm glad that he's doing better. So we'll be back on our Saturday streams starting this Saturday, which we'll get into about what that will be in just a moment. I'd like to quickly shout out our stream is sponsored and partnered with OmniType, Project Keyboards, Canon Keys, and Kinetic Labs, as well as Zap Cables, Type B, Smith & Rune, and 3D Keeps. We'll hear more from them later. I'll actually start because you've got the cooler stuff.
true.
Plus you have mail. I have a little bit of mail. I don't have keyboard mail per se.
Tangentially.
Related. I'll move out of the way. Boom.
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 That is a tight squeeze in there.
It just fits. There's a couple centimeters on both sides. So that is, for those who don't know, this is the Crash Keep Town poster. You can only see the bottom there. I wouldn't. The poster would have to be like on the floor for it to fit all in the stream, but it's pretty cool. I got the poster and got it all put together. Hung it up the other day, so that is there. And it looks fantastic. It's really cool to look at. And it kind of just adds to the scenery of this wall. But yeah, I got that, and I don't think I got anything else. But on my desk, I have been using this big boy. I posted it on Insta yesterday. So this is the Saturn 60. I have this built with it's SA Godspeed with salmon switches on it. For those who don't know, there are issues with GMK and these switches, specifically this stem. SA, no problem. So could just be tighter tolerances on SA, which would potentially make sense because SA cracked like a motherfucker when the box switches, so
Yeah.
it wouldn't surprise me. So I haven't had any issues with the salmon switches on SA. So if you're building with salmon switches, and you've heard issues about tolerances, I would put, you're gonna be all right. It's not anything crazy or anything like that. So, but I genuinely really like this board. It's fun. It's got a nice deep thock to it. And it makes you feel like you're typing on a fucking like 60s, like
It's very vintage looking.
Yeah, vintage. It's almost like I like describing it as it's what someone in the 60s would think the future would type on.
Yeah, it's like,
I forget
what is that
the
called?
exact
Is it like neo-futuristic or something? There's like an actual name for that style, because that's like a style. That's like the people who will get like the rounded and like brightly colored appliances in their home and stuff from like the 60s and stuff that were like supposed to be futuristic looking. The like Jetsons style.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I'm looking that up.
Mid-century modern. There we go.
A little bit, but there's another word because there's like 9 different words for like future art, or like what the future is depicted as, and it's also where we got like steampunk from. But yeah, what about you? I'll continue to look into this. What's on your desk? And I know you got some mail.
Well, technically, we both got mail, but
yes,
you don't have yours yet because I have yours.
Yes,
but let me move Twitch chat over just a hair. Yeah. So as far as what's on my desk, we'll do that first. I haven't changed it since last week. Still rocking my Iron 165 GMK Bingsu, which has completed. So if you didn't get a chance to get in on that, I think typically Project Keyboard does pre-orders where you can purchase the set still at a slightly higher price, but still lower than what you would get. Sorry, there's lots of like dog hair on it. Slightly higher than what you would get it at extras pricing. But yeah, and then I've got still got the rocking the Lividity Travis Scott Jordan 1. The first run, I guess now there's the Fragments, which if you don't know about shoes, they're the same shoe but blue. But yeah, I love it. It's got Zycos in it. Sounds really good. It feels really good. Zycos with the Glorious Panda tops are holding up much better than the Drop Panda tops held up. So that's really nice. Really good to have a little bit more consistency with the board. I don't have to worry about taking keycaps off and it literally just breaking switches. So that is nice. And then as far as mail, got some cool mail. This is a piece of what we'll be doing on Saturday. I am rebuilding my Bower. So if you weren't aware, I was going to do the Bower rebuild about a month ago now and realized that my PCB no longer worked. And so I needed a new one. And shout outs to Garrett from OmniType for getting one out to me. I did buy it, by the way. Did pay for it. But for sending one over pretty quick. So I'm excited to building that with lavenders this weekend with 3.5 gram symmetric springs. Very excited to do that.
Hell yeah.
I wasn't going to lube them, but I'm thinking now I'm going to lube them. I think I'm going to use the Carbon GS2. Just a light little coat.
Just enough.
Just enough to
get those minor inconsistencies out. So
Absolutely.
few though on lavenders, man.
And then big mail.
Moto.
Haven't even opened it yet. Literally picked it up, and there you go.
Come on, camera.
Space bars.
Got space bars waiting for him.
Yeah, this literally came in today. Both these things came in today. Both Chewy and myself got Moto Light, so I'm excited to get that out. I'll probably use it on the Bower. I think that'll be a perfect
Could be a solid look.
match to go ahead and use that this weekend. See how it looks. Check out Moto Light as well as the lavender switches. Cool little note in the box of Moto Light inside the box, like the internal. I don't know if you can kind of see it. It's the accent color.
Ooh, I like it. That's
So,
cool.
Cool little touch. Maybe not a lot of people will notice that, but I did, and I think that's cool. Yeah.
Boom.
Big man.
Big man. I'm excited for that set. I think that'll look. It's going to make my decisions on what keycaps are going where for a little bit, because I got a lot of good white keyboards that match a lot of things. So, for those wondering, it's Ray Gun Gothic Retro Futurism.
That's too many words.
That's a lot. Retro Futurism is pretty all encompassing, but the specific Jetsons-esque art style is called Ray Gun Gothic. So, anyway.
Neo-futurism, which is what I thought it was, is not that. Neo-futurism is more in line with like the design style of like, I guess if you want to equate it to keyboard terms, the Evolve would be with the way it's designed, with the bottom would be like a neo-futuristic style.
Yeah.
Very rounded.
More like Star Trek as opposed to like Jetsons. So
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, what are we talking about tonight? So, we'll get to the main topic. I want to talk. We got a little bit more of an update for those who have not been following. There has been some drama. There's been some popcorn to eat, some melons to consume. So we spoke about this a while back, and either last week or the week before, where Gazoo and MK Ultra broke up. They are no longer working together, and it's become a big like he said, she said. It's very high school. Like, let's be real. It seems like a lot of drama in this seems very, very high school. I don't want anyone. I'm sure I've already said it. The words have left my mouth, so I'm sure I'm not trying to be offensive to anyone. I understand people don't work well together sometimes. Like I get that. But what you should always try and be is be cordial. And it seems like it's been nothing but, and very public, which is not something you see. I am sure that we live in a world where everything has to be run by humans, and humans are imperfect. And I am sure there are vendors that are not fans of each other, or there are people in this hobby that are not willing to work with each other on certain things. That happens. That's just going to be a thing. But this has been like oddly public. Most of that stuff's usually pretty hush hush or behind the scenes, and a lot of misinformation though that's getting kind of thrown out. I guess there were rumors that Gazoo is going to only be selling through KBD fans, which is a little strange. Gazoo came out and said, "I assure you, this is not the case." Which it's just like, it's super awkward. Like I keep reading stuff, reading these posts, and kind of scratching my head like this shouldn't be public. And who's claiming that you're screwing over people? Like that to me is where the high school part comes in, where it's like, well, I'm going to get all your friends mad at you.
Yeah. I think the most childish portion of it is that it's a falling out that's like way more public than it needs to be.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, it feels like two celebrities breaking up, and it like them using the media in order to communicate to the other person. Like, and I don't know if it's because of one side that is causing the other to have to do it, because I feel like that's also like very easily could like if one side is very public about it, it makes the other side have to, or not have to, but they feel more inclined to respond publicly or somewhat publicly, um, because then it becomes harder to not look at fault or look like the bad guy if you stay silent.
Yeah.
Um, so
Yeah, there's a couple things that I want to mention here, and Discord's a tricky place. So one, I'll be honest, I've heard a lot of things about MK Ultra that just hasn't really sat well with me. We talked about the SA Godspeed situation recently. It's kind of one of those, well, you didn't technically do anything like illegal, but it's kind of a shitty thing to do. But it's got that weird, as Eric and I were talking about this before the stream, this hobby runs on like the honor code of colors specifically, and if you're selling something that I think he's claiming that he wasn't selling it for a profit. Who knows? Like, unless he's posting invoices, which that could be breaking terms of agreement with Signature Plastics. So that's not really the greatest thing to do. And then typically if someone has to come out and say, hey, Gazoo is not, Gazoo, I am not going to publicly come out and I have to publicly come out and say, hey, I'm not ending relationships with other vendors in the US and only going to KBD fans. There's a reason that he is having to say that. And whether it's MK Ultra or just people in MK Ultra's, corner, it sucks that it's having to do that, because that's business damaging. That's causing panic. Now you have, if you're a vendor, like let's take Davis from 3D Keeps. All right. So Davis sells U4T switches from Gazoo. That news could have sent her to be like, what the fuck? I sell a lot of those switches, and now I'm hearing that they're going to go to KBD fans. And so he's not the only one they sell to, that Gazoo sells to. So now Gazoo's having, because of this information leaked out, Gazoo's having to have 8 different conversations with vendors coming in left and right saying, hey, what the fuck? I heard you're only selling to KBD fans now. And he's like, I don't know where you heard that, but on top of all of that, just that information alone can get someone to go, well, where can I buy Gazoos? Oh, KBD fans, because I heard that they're the only ones that sell them. And that's damaging. And that's what I don't like. That's stuff like that, where that spread of misinformation is actually damaging, because I'll be honest, it happens to me too. Sometimes you hear something and you're like, cool, I'm going to roll with that forever. Like,
yeah,
we don't, humans don't, we've, especially in 2021, when you have the ability to fact check things, but we still kind of have that concept of like, I heard, it's kind of like, I heard X is good for you. So you just assume it's good for you, because you're not going to sit there and look it up and actually find the research or anything like that. So it just gets, the whole thing's, everything about this has been sitting very poorly on my head.
I think it's just interesting, because if you read the MK Ultra post where he talked about it, about where he, I guess the one from the first, it, like, Gazoo doesn't come across as like upset. Like, he seems like he's very, like, this has been a long time coming. It seems like it's a personal decision to want to move on from this partnership, which I think is a very viable option at any point in time that you do this. I think realistically, depending on the way that, like, if there's a partnership in terms of a contract or anything, which it does not seem like there is, he doesn't really have to do what he did in terms of sending the email. So I think I was like initially confused as to why it became a like hate spewing thing between sides.
Yeah.
And like why there was more of it. Like, why did it have to even get posted. It felt like it was all very salty, which is like fine, right? Everyone
Yeah.
reacts to things differently. If you want to do that, you want to do that. But it's just weird. It's just all weird.
It's weird. So the other thing too, Discord's a tricky place, and Eric and I have both made mistakes in Discord that has come back to bite us in the ass. Discord is, if you I am a part of one truly private Discord. It is the one that I am in by myself that I use to import pictures to my phone. Or if I want to save for something for later, and I used to use our mod channel, and then that just got too much. But if you post it on there and there's one other person, it's no longer like private is private. Yeah, okay, that's fair. I'll give you that one, young homie. You can look at all the keyboard pictures on there, the nude keyboard pics. But so even if it's in your private server, people can fucking screenshot that shit. It's, you know, we've had it where Eric and I have said something when what we thought may have been a private server that got posted somewhere. We've said stuff in our Mechs on Deck server that immediately gets posted elsewhere. When you post something in a Discord server, it's going to get posted elsewhere because it's just a big web, right? It's a big web, a family tree of someone's connected to this server, connected to this server. So if shit's happening in Top Clack's server, people literally come to our server and be like, bro, this is happening in Top Clack's server right now. Like, yeah, and then it becomes public. Or a message. I will say, if you're posting PMs to people, like if you're posting a private message, that's fucked up. That's fucked up. Don't be that guy. I make fun of Garrett all the time because we were having a conversation and he said, I don't like running green sets. And this was before Botanical exploded in the on the like second one. And so I just he was like I don't know if I ever want to run another green set because you ran nuclear data, Botanical, which did fine. Botanical at first did fine, but round 2 obviously did a lot better, and Terra, which performed poorly comparatively. And so I sent that to him the second Botanical 2 round 2 got announced, and I was like, oh yeah. I was like, I want to post this, but again, I can't. I mean, I know I'm talking about it, but it's I know he would know it. But you shouldn't post PMs because that's where you start drawing the line of just being a shitty person. Like if someone comes to me with a bunch of tea, but it's all private, I'm like, well, I can't fucking talk about it because I shouldn't have this information. But if you're posting it in a server where other people can see it, yeah, that shit, there's a chance that stuff can get posted. You know, full disclosure, in Mechs on Deck, there is a hidden channel with a handful of us in there. And that's where a lot of conversations that happen. Because there is that trust of like, hey, don't. But we know to an extent, while that is private, we know that there is a chance that anything you say in there can get copy pasted and thrown somewhere else. So hidden door leads to secrets.
It's not really that.
It's not like super crazy. It started as a local Dallas thing. But it's just one of those. It's one of those things where I started seeing, oh well, they posted in this, they posted in this, they posted in this. And I'm like, so you're posting things publicly, and then it's so I hear MK Ultras will post something in their server, which is, you know, it's his server, but that's still public. And when you make these accusations and you make these statements out loud, and by out loud I mean on Discord, it's gonna fucking. There's a great quote from Letterkenny. The less you say now, the more you have to apologize for later.
Very true. Very true. Yeah. I mean, it seems like it's like someone's trying to gaslight someone else. It's kind of backfiring. So, and then like the other persons won't accept that the gaslighting's not working. So they just like dig the hole deeper. And then they just both end up looking kind of weird. Like, I feel like, I don't know. I don't know how to feel like personally. It's funny. We were talking before the stream of like, is there like a side to take here? Like what
Yeah.
is like it because not that either way feels right, but and either way feels wrong. It's just like it's just weird. It's like why is this even happening? Like this
Yeah.
could all happen behind closed doors. It doesn't need to be
These
like
could have been emails.
yeah, these don't need to like because frankly, at the end of the day, people don't care where they're buying the switches from. They just care they're getting the switch, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, it means more to MK Ultra that he's not getting that revenue if he's no longer involved with Gazoo, and it means probably even more to him if he's not able to get his low profile switches that he wants. But like this is just you're just like making drama in the community for people who just like to look at drama and
Yeah.
like just talk about it. I mean, I guess it's good for future business practices. People who can read this, see this situation, learn from it, maybe approach the situations like this, these partnerships in a different manner because of things like this happen. But yeah, it's
as
fuck.
as as Keeb Noob says, it is very entertaining. And I saw Eric do something I haven't seen do before. But shit starts getting posted, just post an emoji popcorn. It lightens the mood because everyone's just, all right, get your popcorn out. Like, what am I reading now? Like, it's, you know, we talk a lot about drama on here. It's very rare that we're in the center of it. If if anyone says something, typically it's myself, but I can't think of a time where I haven't gone to Eric saying, "Hey, I'm about to do this,"
Yeah,
because it's fair. I don't typically, not in my keyboard on hobby, absolutely. Um, but if you're gonna do something, then it should be like, if you're trying to if you're trying to start drama just because you want drama, then fucking stop. But if you're trying to start something because there's some legitimate issue, yeah. And then sometimes I can understand where it goes, where you might want it to be public so that they're not trying to say shit to you. Because then you get put in that awkward, well, he PM'd it to me.
yeah. But
But
at some point, you got to save face for like the
yeah,
future of the business.
yeah. So just be careful. And when people are doing stuff like this, sit back and relax and enjoy some popcorn, because we get to sit here and talk about it and go, hey, why the fuck is all of this being like? Let's talk about Rama and Drop. So you remember that, right?
Trying to think.
It was the M6B, I think, or the M6A. It was one of the macro pads.
Oh, the M10, right?
M10,
Yeah.
yes, M10. Thank you. So Rama ran the M10 through Drop. Drop. We don't know the full story, which is one good. There we go. Proving my point. But the M10 and also the Rama spinner. Okay, so through Drop made changes / also, I guess, was like approving what would have been B stock to Rama, but like Rama was not happy and Drop sold it in. We found that out later, but instead of this big public argument, not that really Drop is like out in public talking to people in Discords, but it was like, hey, I just want to let you know, we're not happy with this. This is why we're not happy. We have ended the business relationship. These will continue to sell through this. Like, if you got your order through Drop, don't worry, but anything further will no longer be through them. That's how it's done. That's
Yeah.
how it's done.
No, exactly. Because like that's the way that you don't like you don't gaslight a company that necessarily maybe doesn't 100% deserve it because they have fundamental differences than you in the way that they approach things, the way that they accept things, what works for them, what works for you, works for you. Like I mean, even down to like P-Cult, right? One of the reasons they wanted to go in-house was because they wanted to have more control over what was happening with the boards. They wanted to be able to uh, have the hands-on aspect of it to know that everything is as good as it can be, right? And like, I mean, sometimes you just want to have more control over it. Sometimes you want it to be done the way you want to do it. Maybe you just don't agree with the business practices or the way someone carries themselves or holds themselves in the community, and you decide you don't want to be involved with them, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And I think like if one of our sponsors was like not really excited where your content's going, don't want to sponsor you anymore, like okay, like I don't like I may we may be like, well, we're enjoying it, but what could we do that would be better, right? Like you could use it
Yeah.
as a learning opportunity, but like you don't have to like make a big deal out of it. You know, I'm not going
Yeah.
to sit out here and flame Garrett because if he just doesn't want to sponsor us anymore, right? Like regardless, if Garrett's like, I don't really want to sponsor y'all anymore, I'd be like, okay, I'm not like mad at you. Like we can still be
Yeah,
friends.
it's not like a it's not like an ending of a relationship. It's just a thing. Like people people are sponsored, and it's just a. I mean, in our opinion, a lot of our sponsorships are mainly just like friendships between a content creation and a business that we like. I talked about this on a stream a while back. We wouldn't be sponsored by someone we wouldn't personally buy from. So when it comes off, like, we're not sponsored by Novel Keys. We reached out. It didn't really show. It's not like they weren't looking to add people, and we're not like sitting here upset about it by any means. But they weren't, and but that never tarnished the relationship with Novel Keys or anything like that. We still buy stuff from Novel Keys. Novel Keys is kind of the one sponsor we're not sponsored by, and we absolutely buy stuff from them. If Canon Keys and Omnitype dropped us immediately, that wouldn't be like, I'm never buying any Canon Keys or Omnitype again. No, it's like Eric said, it's
Unless they were like
business
literally, I hate you as a person.
yeah,
now.
if they were
then
like,
I'd be
fuck
like, okay,
you,
maybe.
and then be like, are you
Like, what the hell, dude? Like this came out of nowhere. Also, young homie, Garrett is the owner and operator of Omnitype.
Omnitype. Also, Omnitype and Canon Keys, we love you. Please don't drop us.
Yeah, please don't drop us.
But yeah, so moral of the story: sit back, enjoy the popcorn, watch what you post on Discord.
Yeah.
Because that shit's public. A screenshot will last forever.
Don't try to gaslight people for like
Yeah.
no reason either. Like, not that that has anything to do with this situation, but like just in general, like unless there's someone doing like something that's like legitimately worthy of it, like super fucked up, like then yeah, go for it. But don't like just try to stir the pot just to stir the pot.
Yeah. Yeah. So, next up, we got some Haramal switches. Now, these, I read the Theremin Goat review. For those, you can pick these up at Rebuilt? It's like rebuilt, but there's not an I in the word. But there's the link. These are the switches we're talking about. Rebuilt keyboards or Rebuilt keyboards / products. It's the Haramal and Penu switch. So, got some cool switches here. One, it's been other than like Gmk Fox. I don't think a Switch has gone and donated money to a charity, which I think is really fucking cool.
Yeah.
That's unique. So we've got two different switches. We've got Haramal switches that are apparently they were designed to be like Zycos and BCP cream Pakas. I assume the latter is more based off of like a linear, which is what the Penu switch is, which looks hilarious because the Penu switch is like a flip-flopped Anubis.
Yeah, it's like the inverse.
The stem's the same color, but it is a linear. So cool to see because Theremin Goat obviously knows a fuckload about switches. Homeboy has made hundreds of switch reviews and he's tried hundreds of different switches. And so you can gather what I really like is he's not like, oh, this is a good switch. He's comparing it to other things. He's saying, well, let me tell you about how scratchy versus smooth it is. Or I'm going to tell you about the bump, but not whether or not it's a good or bad bump. I'm going to tell you objectively about the bump. Is it big? Is it round? Is it sharp? Does it start at the top? Does it end at the bottom? All that stuff. And he had nothing but good things to say about these tactile switches, which makes me pretty freaking excited.
Yeah, I mean, cool. I not no hate against the Switch, but I'm like, there's so many Switches now. It's like hard to keep up with. I think arguably the coolest thing about this product release is the freaking like Japanese traditional tattoo art in the promo pictures. Like, can I get that tiger desk mat? Like, can I get that on a desk mat, please? Even the
That would be
turtle
fucking
looks
sick.
sick. Yeah, like that would look great. It would look great. Can we make that happen? Everyone, people over at Rebuilt, Rebuilt,
Revolt,
Rebuilt.
rebuilt without the I.
Yeah, we like some vowels, but not all. Pew Pew Laser, thank you for the 6 months. But yeah, I think yeah, it's cool. It's cool to see new things. One thing the Theremin Goat pointed out is the difference in the bottom, showing that it looks like it's a new mold, which is cool to see. I was having discussions with people the other night of like, we all know how Switches, they start out great when it's a brand new mold, and as time goes on, they kind of start being worse and worse. Look at the Novel Keys creams. If you have a first run batch of creams, they are like butter.
Ooh,
And
they're
then
amazing.
now they're like scratch city, dude. So
Get them while they're hot.
yeah, so like this would be, if you are interested in these Switches, I would say maybe get them now, because
Yeah.
now if they are new molds, now is going to be the best they will be. Ironically, they'll only get worse from here. like like not even ironically, unironically, they will get worse from here. It's just a
eventually they will
natural
wear out,
wear
and
on the mold.
then 2.0s will have to come out. But no, it's cool because allegedly it's got a bigger bump than Zyko's, according to their Theremin Goat. That's cool for me because I really like huge bump switches, and as I've stated before, at the time there wasn't much. Now I've got fucking 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a Zyko. 1, 2, 6 different very tactile switches. 7 sitting on my little fidget switch tester that are all pretty darn big bumps, and that's not even all of them. I don't even have the blueberry on here. So it's pretty fucking cool. I'm happy. Oh, and 2 of these are Franken switches, and that's it. I really enjoy it. I think it's cool. That I'm hoping we can move into, let's change the mold. Let's adjust how, let's see how much we can push the limits to these switches, to have something that crazy. But when I was looking at this, the one thing I was thinking of is, I was like, man, we just are not investing a whole lot of much into the medium tactile world.
Yeah.
Like the Blizzard, I think they're called Blizzard switches. Top Clark, remind me, because I know you were looking for them. They're like the Gateron Blizzard,
I think that's what they're called.
Snowstorm. I don't remember. Those are really, really cool, and those are solid switches. But like, those kind of have had a quiet release. But for the fact that some people like that medium tactility. Some people don't want to feel like they're having to pop bubble wrap just to type on a keyboard. And it would be cool to try and perfect that. Like,
Yeah.
moving forward. Like, how can we make the medium tactile not feel kind of weak, but also like not, because I always feel like when I'm typing on a medium tactile, I feel like it's like moving, like the switch moves.
My thing is, when are we going to have a tactile switch that comes in and is like better than what exists, and like is not comparative to a Franken switch?
Yeah.
Right? Because it feels like the stock switches are just now trying to catch up with something that was made 2 to 3 to 4 years ago. You look at it seems like we're in the similar place we were 2 years ago with the Holy
Right.
Panda with like Zycos, where everything is either like still comparing itself to a Holy Panda or comparing itself to a Zyco.
Mhm.
And it's like, yeah, but
When are we
why
gonna
why
get
don't why
blown
aren't
out of the
why
water?
aren't we the next step, right? Like
Yeah.
why aren't we trying to go further? Why are we trying to catch up rather than uh go past it?
Yeah.
Um so
Can we get those leaf click springs from Zeal yet? Come on.
oh, the like where you can just like flip it and it's a
Yeah, it's
different,
like
yeah.
you can flip it. Can we get those? Come on.
No, dude.
So
I don't dude, when was the last time you heard something from Zeal? He did like giveaways in his server a while ago and then like nothing happened.
I don't know. I mean, the switches still are sold, but that's about as much as I
Zeal
know.
V2s have been out for like 4 years now.
Is it
No,
4 years? No, I think it's only
2018.
3.
So 3 years.
So yeah, 3 years. It'll be 3 years in like a month.
It's
I
crazy.
think they ran the group by in like September. So 3 years.
3 years ago, Holy Pandas were like $5 a switch.
Yep. And then what's his face? Was it Evan that did the Jesus switches where they were like, "Oh, we found the molds" or something like that? I think
Dude,
it was.
how many times we need a lore master on the Holy Panda molds to see how many times someone has uncovered the OG
Uncovered
Inver.
more. I found them in the garbage out back.
Yeah.
That's right.
True.
That was Streaking Bison. Yep, that was the last time I heard from him. Was so. But anyway, so let's talk about the other topic. So a board came out. Eric showed it to me. It's very interesting. I think as you said Odos was building it. It's a very intriguing board. What was the name of it?
The Thera.
Yeah, the Thera. That's right, the Thera. So it's a gasket mounted plateless, which is very. I hadn't seen that before. Gasket mounted plateless build for pretty inexpensive, under 300 or maybe right at 300. And the title of this, it kind of made me laugh when I was reading I hope the board does well. I hope people enjoy it. I hope it comes out okay. Gasket mounting a PCB. We'll see. If you look at the PCB, it's very concerning. There's a lot of flex cuts in it that make me worried. They're kind of going for that spring leaf feature on the PCB. If you're going to buy it, I highly recommend buying multiple PCBs because FR4, I don't think if you're careful, I don't think it's going to break. But if you're even a little bit like lackadaisical, you might break the fucking space bar right off the PCB.
All I'm saying is, can we do a channel fundraiser so we can buy one? So then we can get it, build it, and then put weights on it to see how much weight it can take before it.
Can we just buy one PCB? Like, can I enter the group buy for one PCB?
No, dude. Like, we gotta get the whole board, get the whole experience, so we can just sit there and put like sandbags on it and just see how much weight it can take before the little nubs. If you haven't seen it, it's basically the PCB mount. If you didn't watch Alex's stream earlier today, we went live before he was done, I believe. I was watching it before stream, but he built it, and it's basically the PCB has little flex cuts in the mounting places and leaves you with like a couple of millimeters on either side of FR4 that is supposed to support the weight of the build itself as well as the pressure that you are applying with your hands. To me, it just seems like something that, for the most part, if I have a keyboard, I feel like I can be pretty comfortable if I dropped it and it wouldn't break. With this one, I would be a little bit more concerned.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy and very surprised that Alex got a proto. I think that's awesome because I think my initial thought was, who the hell is this and why is it so inexpensive?
Yeah. Especially because boards are expensive right now.
Yeah. They're also
It's
someone that is overseas,
yeah.
so they have a little bit easier of a
You're not having to
time with
charge
pricing.
shipping. Well, you also don't have to charge shipping to you. A lot of people don't know. When you run a group buy in America, it costs a lot of money to ship all those boards. I cannot imagine how much money it's costing Cannon Keys to ship 1,400 Satisfaction V2s. Also, shipping charges change, so you have to charge enough and potentially even take a hit on it. So yeah, that's like bananas. But they said it is high. It is an affordable high-end board. The exact wording, I almost said wording, is budget high-end board, which, okay. I will say, by the way, Mech Mahler, the badge is pretty fucking awesome. Like, I respect the badge. That's a cool thing. Yeah. But you know, it just seems like an oxymoron. It seems like it seems like you're throwing out keywords, right? Like a searchable word. Like I want to look up for a budget board that's also high end. Well, what's high end? And what's budget? I was talking with some people, I think DD Decline and Static Age about this, where it's like, well, what is high end? Because if we're talking about high end keyboards, a high end keyboard is a Corsair K70 or a Razer Black Widow. That's a high end keyboard. Because a keyboard, every keyboard in this hobby is essentially high end. Now, obviously, the bar gets raised when you go to, okay, what's a custom mechanical keyboard? Now it's high end within the hobby. Well, you can't put a price on that because, you know, I've heard terms. What's a high end feature? Well, it's like, well, what determines a high end feature? If you don't like gasket mounts, does that make you not like high end boards? Because like let's go by what most people I assume would think high end boards are: gasket mounted, brass plate or brass weight. Plates are really kind of a toss up right now because people really like a lot of different stuff. But brass weight, 75 or 65% layouts, gasket mounted, badges are a plus. Nice PCB.
I mean,
okay, but there are a lot of boards that do that. Look at the Prophet? Not the Prophet. What am I thinking of?
the IDB 60. Polaris.
No, the Polaris. Thank you, Polaris. The Polaris was a whole nother thing, right? That scratches all the itches of high end, but it's also budget, but I don't think people are running around calling the Polaris a high end luxury keyboard. I don't think it is.
Yeah. I mean, a great budget high end. I mean, I guess I could understand. I think it may also be we may be looking into it further than maybe is necessarily the case. It could be a translation issue. Or like an understanding of it. It could also be like budget, more meaning like budget custom board. I don't know, but obviously we're making an assumption that probably shouldn't be made. I don't know. It seems like a little bit of an oxymoron because in terms of like, if I'm looking for a term high end, right? Like if I think of it in like what is a high end board? Well, it doesn't just check the boxes, it's the one that defines the boxes.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like it's become easy to make boards that check boxes and have things. I think this doesn't necessarily do that. I don't know. It's weird because we haven't seen anything like this.
This could be
yeah.
one of this could make one of these boxes checked. This
There's
could
things
be
that
an innovator.
But there's things like Static Age brought up, like finish quality. Like finish quality is not good. If the black doesn't match the top doesn't match the bottom, then
What are you put?
we're
Yeah,
in for a wild ride because that's
yeah.
not high end anymore. How good is the quality control going to be? Are there going to be marks on the outside? Are there going to be marks acceptable on the inside? Because if you're going for high end, like if you're putting that terminology to it, you're setting yourself up for a lot of scrutiny from the community as far as an expectation.
Mhm.
Kajita brought up that the Fortitude 60 sits on FR4 tabs. Yes, it does. Fortitude 60, being a split board, sits on like 3 times as many tabs as this board does and doesn't have flex cuts through the middle of it. So I think that's my concern with the longevity.
Yeah, it's the two that go out.
Well, and it's like you're spreading
like-
the force on somewhere that doesn't have anywhere to like dispel the force. If that makes sense. So like you're then putting all of the force of your fingers on those 2 little tabs that are connecting to the build. I don't know. It's obviously something that, I mean, we don't know. They could have tested this for months and months and not, and it does work and it can handle some abuse. But I don't know. I wouldn't trust this as like a board that I would take to and from work every day. I would be afraid.
I wouldn't get this because I don't like plateless builds, but that's more of a preference. But yeah, it just that terminology just kind of threw me into a long thought process of like, if let's take Key Colt. They're kind of known for making good quality boards. Okay, is my Key Colt my favorite board? No, it's not. I don't even think it's my 3rd favorite. It's a great board, but when you buy Key Colt, I got a B stock, and that B stock was a joke, and I make fun of Jorge for it because I'm like, "Are you serious? Like that's what you call the B stock? That tiny little like thing that like it literally I can't find it anymore because the brass patinaed already." And they're like, "But no, we hold ourselves to high standards." I'm like, "That's great." Key Colt's the 3rd best board. Yeah, exactly. So when you look at that, especially if you buy an A stock board, that thing is going to come flawless. Good design. It does have the gasket mounts. It's got solid design. It's going to be a solid board. It's going to be great, and you're going to as long as you build it correctly, or build it with some good switches. Maybe you spend a little extra time lubing switches. Maybe you pay someone to lube your switches. Maybe you pay someone to build the whole board for you that's built boards for a long time. You're going to get one of the highest quality typing experiences and keyboard ownership experiences out there. But if you sit down and type on a Key Colt, and then you walk over and you type on a Fiel that's also been built really, really well, I'd venture to say a lot of people would still really, really like both. What do you get with a Fiel? It's a solid board. I haven't seen too many issues with like the anodization. Their anodization is usually really, really good, but it doesn't scratch a lot of those. It doesn't tick off a lot of those marks. It's still an amazing board. I still think the Fiel is one of the better boards in our hobby. And if you're wanting to, like, to me, if there's a budget high-end board, it's the Fiel. But just because it doesn't have those ticks, but what did Fiel do? Fiel said, "Hey, we're going to make an amazing keyboard without all of these extra things." Because then they went and made other boards that had those extra things. But just because it doesn't have those ticks doesn't mean it can't be a high end. If you do something really, really, really fucking good, like the Fiel does, then it's going to be really, really good. I've typed on boards that are gasket mounts that are okay. They're fine. They're good. And I've typed on things that are not gasket mounts that I'm like, this is amazing. What do I like personally? I think the Bauer is one of the best built keyboards that I've ever typed on. And that scratches a lot of those itches.
It's like super hot. It's like from a packaging standpoint to a presentation standpoint to the build, the ease of use, it's one of the most complete boards that I've built in terms
Yeah.
of bringing on the entire package. Um, and that's why I said like checking. It's not about checking boxes. I think like high end boards define the boxes that everyone else tries to check.
Yeah.
Right? Fiel was one of the best, if not the best, tray mount boards for the longest time. I think Fiel is directly representative of why we have things like the 5 degree, right?
Mhm.
They basically tried to rip it and make it cheaper. Like tofu exists because of Clippa, right? These are things that happened because of that. Look at the knob craze and the screen and knob craze that has happened after Satisfaction 75.
Yeah, the 910 with the blocker showing up huge with no, and you and I talked about 910 set a precedent. 910 is it's okay, it's good, but it's not.
I mean, I think
It's
it's
not
just
impeccable. A lot of it has to do with the fucking PCB.
Well, that
But-
was not like
and that was a long
it
time
was
ago.
skewed because the PCB and plate that I built in it was third party. It wasn't
Yeah.
TGR, so that is kind of skewed. But I think
It's also like that's like a 4 or 5 year old keyboard.
my thing with calling things budget high end is we've talked a lot about how we don't like people that go after vendors, go after runners, go after for issues with things. I feel like when you call something budget high end out of the gate, you're opening yourself up to a lot of scrutiny that maybe isn't necessarily needing to be there, because you're shining a spotlight on yourself and you're holding yourself to a pretty high standard, calling it budget high end, because it's like that's not really a defined term, right? Every person is going to consider something else high end.
Yeah.
And how much is that person willing to lean on the budget aspect of it and accept, or are they going to not, like, are they going to be upset? Like, I don't know. I feel like you set yourself up for a lot of issues
Yeah.
that don't necessarily need to be there if you just tried to market it differently. I think this is definitely a marketing splash term to try to do things
Yeah.
like what they did here where we're talking about it.
It worked.
But yeah.
Static, I do want to say in this term, no, $300 is not budget, right? That's kind of what I was talking about earlier with like a fucking Razer Chroma. That's a high end keyboard because it's not a $10 Amazon keyboard. The $300, I'm pulling that from the fact that this keyboard that claimed to be budget high end was $300. So
To me, and that's why I'm
260,
saying,
yeah,
that's why I'm saying like it sets itself up to try to be compared against a board that costs $500, $600, $700 retail. When they say budget high end, it's meaning it's taking the features and the quality of a board that is twice the price and bringing it down to a lower, more acceptable level, which we've seen done before, but like fairly sparing.
Yeah, and sparingly done, and also done really well, because we've also seen other issues. But other than that, I mean, again, someone said budget's different for everyone, right? And high end's different for everyone. Again, an NK65 might be the nicest keyboard some people own, and that's perfectly fine. And someone might have an NK65, type on a key code and go, no, I like mine better. That's fine too. You know, it's try not to have these words define things, right? We've talked about what's the word, like in game, and where in game's kind of a weird word because it's like, well, are you done with keyboards? Are you going to sell everything and this is the only thing you're using? We're guilty of this. Using words to define things is usually not because it's hard to. If there is any sort of difference, or if it's a subjective way of thinking about it, like you can't say, oh, that's budget when it's $100. $100 might not be for someone. So
I mean, context matters, right?
yeah, context always matters. So anyway, let's look at some pictures. Let's look at we got like 4 right now. So guys, it is Artisan August. So post the pictures of your artisans. We've got 4 pictures we're going to go through right now. So for those who don't know, keyboard of the week and keyboard of the month. We are making a calendar at the end of the year. If you decide that you want to partake, your picture could be picked to be one of the months in the calendar if you win keyboard of the month. This month, Artisan August. So take some pictures of your artisans, preferably on a keyboard. We've got 4. Please post them tonight, but you can post them all week, and we will go from the last one we talked about. At the end of every Tuesday stream, we go through and vote for who wins that week, and they will go into the end of the month. And we'll have a big vote off at the end of the month to see who wins keyboard of the month. So,
Sorry, I'm still realized that I did not this up properly before stream.
It's all good. So while Eric's working on that, I want to talk about our awesome sponsors and partners. So first and foremost, we have OmniType. You can head on over to omnitype.com. Botanical Round 2. It is open for 3 more days. Please, if you really like the color green, you should get this. It's in a fantastic set. If you like just solid, good-looking sets, this is a great one. They've got a lot of different options up there. So be sure to grab that. And then I assume Modern Dolch Light Extras will be here in the next month. So if you're wanting to get on Modern Dolch Light Extras, we don't know when, but they will announce it. And if there's time between when they announce it, if we stream in between when they announce it, we'll be sure to announce it there. So check that out. Project keyboards, go on over to mechsondeck.project.link. Bingsu did wrap up, but there are he usually runs pre-orders, so just keep an eye out right now. We got pre-orders for GMK Stealth, GMK Noir, GMK Dolch Round 5, and GMK Sumi, all running in those pre-orders. So if you missed out, you have to pay a little bit more, but you get a spot. So it's pretty cool.
Always cheaper than extras.
Yes, it is usually in between. So Canon keys, check out the Balance keyboard. This is a great keyboard. They've got the new springs. So we didn't talk about this. We talked about Anubis springs or Anubis switches are solid switches, but they really perform the best with 69 gram symmetrical springs. Guess what? You can get those from Canon keys now in the same order. So very, very cool. If it's kind of the one-stop shop now, if you're getting Anubis switches, highly recommend picking up some 69 gram CK slow springs. Slow, baby. So check that out. You can still they have plenty of Anubis switches up there, as well as GMK Hohei, GMK Jags, and GMK Moomin are all running on Canon keys. So lots of cool stuff running on Canon keys. And then Kinetic Labs. I think we have some caps coming very soon. We're going to be able to take a look this week. Yeah. Take a look at the whale and octopus caps. They're selling like crazy. So we'll try and keep you updated on when those release. I know they're like trying to keep up, but they keep selling out quickly. So go check them out, get that bookmarked. And then of course check out Zap Cables, our partner. They make amazing cables. They've got awesome desk mats. So go check out
what partners. Let's do partners later.
Okay, sounds good. All right.
We can do partners during the voting. All right. First up, this is a Alice style board that we can't see very much of, but we got some Hootie artisans from KB eCraft, looking mighty fine in that potted plant.
The hanging plant. Love it. Good picture.
Yeah, dude, solid picture.
Good picture. Artisans look cool. Looks like they just hopped right off the keyboard.
Dude, they did. They wanted some fresh oxygen from the plant.
Hell yeah. Solid picture, Reverb. What is up next?
This is Mr. Static Ages. Is this a KBD pad? I'm assuming. With A lot of artisans. I think we've seen these
Yep.
before. I don't remember all the names.
I know Lividity, the one on the right's a
Yeah.
Lividity cap. Yeah. I know the one on the right's the Lividity cap. I couldn't tell you the rest of them. But it's cool. It's cool because a lot of people don't really use that top row a whole lot for that. So it's cool to have a little show off plus your numpad. KBD pad Mark II. Hellbent, thank you for the Prime sub for 10 months.
Dude.
So very, very cool. Also love the desk mat.
Good. Looking good. All right. Next up from Mr. Scott W. The Thock Stock himself. I don't know what keyboard this is, but it's a pretty color green. But he's got the what is that? What is the archetype?
The Space
called that?
Goblin.
Space Goblin. Yeah.
Yes. It's a unicorn.
It's a unicorn. Apparently. And I don't know what the other one is, but it's Keeps and Horns, and I like the unicorn.
It looks like Finn with devil horns.
I guess that makes sense that it's a unicorn keyboard because there's a unicorn.
Unicorn. I think he called this corns and horns.
I should have thought about that.
Very cool. Love the green. The green looks excellent. We got some modern Dolce light on there with the off color accent key. Love the good solid theme and just looks great overall.
Yeah, very, very clean. Very, very clean look. This gets me excited for modern Dolce light.
Some modal. But next up, we've got. I couldn't tell you this keyboard. Maybe it's not. It reminds me of the Space 65, but I don't think it is. But we've got an Omni type. I think that's the 8008X key with some artisans that I am not familiar with and what I believe to be Miami Nights.
Yeah, I think it's Miami Nights.
Keycap set.
And then like
Cyber Voyager, that's what it is.
And then like the tie-how rubber keycaps for the arrows.
The arrows.
Interesting decision there. Maybe to fit the Cyber Voyager theming there. Dude, these look good. I like these artisans.
The artisans look really, really cool. That purple matches, and then everything else just plays with the colors real well. And of course, you got your 65, so you might as well fill out that row with some artisans. So it's almost like you're looking down at a keyboard right now, Eric. That's done something
similar idea. Yeah, this looks good. Space 65, known for looking like a knife.
Absolutely. So next up, we have that is the artisan for Gmk Copper, I believe.
With Gmk Firefly.
With Gmk Firefly on what looks like an OSA, but I don't know if it is.
Might be a Tengu.
So very cool. Firefly came out great. And I love the kind of patina look to this artisan. Just looks really clean.
Yeah, this does look really clean. Looks good. And then last but not least, Mr. G. Willard with the ever elusive Bro Caps Topra. There's a lot of hair and stuff going on in this picture, my dude.
Called out.
Topra Escape plus a FN in his HHKB Pro 2. Yeah, there's my cats love rubbing up on my boards. Super annoying. Yeah, I feel you. I have a dog that sheds.
You don't see a lot of Topra artisans, so that's cool. Now we must guess what pet they have. So very cool. What are you feeling?
Here. I'm feeling the feeling statics. The KBD pad too. I just like the aesthetics of all those artisans, that it's like the skull.
I'm torn. I'm gonna go with Deed's Cyber Voyager. with the arrows and the X key and the other artisans. So I like Corns and Horns. I was like, do I like Corns and Horns because it's really good? I mean, it's really good, but do I also just really like the name Corns and Horns?
See, I was like, I feel like if I pick it, I'm picking it because of the unicorn doll.
Plushie.
And I feel like I need to pick it because of the keyboard or because of the artisans, not because of the plushie.
Mm-hmm.
So
So
also this
getting-
Lividity cap, the Moses looks awesome.
Mhm.
It's also so fucking gnarly. Just like such a gnarly sculpt.
Right, and a weird story about how it
It's
became
literally
a
like
sculpt.
someone getting axed, face just ripping in half. Lividity caps is like the nuttiest stories behind his artisans.
Right, like there's not many artisans that I can think that have better stories than. Well, I was performing an autopsy and this dude's face was split in half, and so I went home and sculpted it.
Yeah, right. That Moses is my favorite artisan known. I think he just did such a good job with like only putting the color in the skull and it being like not too overly vibrant to where it just looks so like perfectly placed.
Yeah. So, guys, voting's at the top of chat. We got the KBD pad versus the Cyber Voyager. So go vote now for what you want to be put at the end of the month for Keyboard of the Month. So, real quick, we have some awesome partners. We got Zap Cables, who makes awesome cables. He also provides you with stuff to make your own cables. As well as really awesome desk mats. So go check out Zap Cables. We've got Typebeast. Go to typebea.st. They have an awesome newsletter to go and follow. So be sure to check that out. Smith and Rune. Go to smithrune.com. Be on the lookout. Iron 165 Polycarb Edition will be out as a ready to ship group buy at the end by the end of the year. And then 3D Keeps. Go to 3dkeeps.com. Got a lot of good stuff, switches, stabs, lube, all the things that you need. So, tomorrow...
What the fuck just happened?
What?
Did you let it to where they could use points to vote?
Oh, maybe.
All of a sudden, the KBD pad went from like losing
I guess I didn't change it from the
to
last.
aggressively winning.
Mechanist opened a brick and mortar store. Yeah, that was cool to see.
It was really cool to see.
It's fun to see everything growing.
Yeah, for sure. Plus, it's also like really cool for the future of the hobby to have like these little pop-up shops or these brick and mortar stores in different areas of the world. Because like it would be cool to go on like a keyboard store world tour and just like plan this like enormous vacation where you go see all the keyboard companies at their brick and mortar store and they have just like everything that they've ever made available for you to check out.
Yeah, and like Stupid Bullet says, there's so much room to grow in this hobby. It's pretty crazy, and it would just be cool that it would be really cool to. We've never experienced walking into a custom mechanical keyboard store where you just get to try a bunch of really cool keyboards. Like that's the dream. TX, so TX has had one for a hot minute, and our good friend Rick went, and he was like, it was a great experience and just really cool and fun to see. And that was like 2 years ago.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
It's I love to see that there are more and more people popping up. But so tomorrow we have Artisan August continuing on. We have doohickeys and geo keycaps coming on. Talk about some cute artisans. They make some awesome stuff over there. So be sure to check that out. That'll be tomorrow at 8 p.m. Central Time. And that will it'll be a really good time. And then Saturday, what are you doing?
I am building or rebuilding. I guess technically it's a full new build. It's a new PCB.
It's a new build, new PCB.
I'm
PCB,
building
new switches.
my Bower. We're gonna build it up with some lavenders with 63.5 gram symmetric springs. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm very excited to get that board. I've been missing my Bower. I've been missing being able to use that. So I'm excited to get that built finally and use Modern Dolce Light. I'm gonna use that. We'll see which accent colors I use. Maybe I don't use any colors. We just go full
Ooh.
mono. Probably not. Just gonna go ahead and say that now. It's probably not gonna happen. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. So coming out, that's happening at noon on Saturday. That is 12 p.m. Central Time. Yeah, aka correct time.
Boom, got him.
Yeah, should be fun. Come hang out. It'll be a good time.
Absolutely. So we're gonna throw. Did he finish? I could have sworn I just saw Lightning streaming.
I think he was streaming before we got on, so he's been on.
Okay, so yeah,
for a hot
he's
minute.
wrapped up.
Also, shout outs to Static. We didn't say it. Congratulations, Static. You win the KBD pad. Congrats, you win. Gnarly Charlie for you donated quite a few points, and rigged the vote. But hey, you know what? Such is life. Sometimes it be like
life.
that. It may be like it is, but it do.
It do. So we're gonna raid. Is this Tony Kin? I think that's how you say his name.
Ooh, let's do Ozzy. We haven't
Ozzy.
Ozzy.
Okay. All right, let's raid Ozzy. Raiding Ozzy. Starting raid. So guys, thank you. Tomorrow 8 p.m. Saturday at noon.
Absolutely. And with that being said, we're gonna be heading out tonight, closing up shop. We'll see you tomorrow at 8 p.m. Y'all have a good rest of your night. Bye bye.